plugs here now. Let's get this silicone off of here. It is fairly flexible. Just make sure to be delicate and not cut any of your wires because you could short circuit. Just doing a bit of moving around there. And that's what it looks like, what they had on top, just a little bit of, feels like hot glue. And that's over the negative to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to the 10th BMS wire. Comes apart just like hot glue too. The top one that's holding the BMS plug in, just like hot glue. Now just wiggle these wires out of here. Fairly tightly bent. That's cool. BMS is now disconnected. Ooh, excuse me. Excuse me. I have Anderson connectors that are smaller than this, but they're still, this is a 120 amp 600 volt Anderson connector. So there's your positive wire to activate the BMS on this positive. So there might be 10 or 15 or so parallel in here. Let's see, it's almost a 50 amp hour, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 on this side. That would be 35, so maybe it's 8 or 9 in parallel and then series together, or sets of series. So I don't like a BMS that I can't Bluetooth to. It's just more padding, more spacer padding. Not a spacing platter or spacer pads. Same on the other end here. These aren't double stacked, they're just single. Just covering up that hole. I don't see a name brand on this BMS board, but it's a SP M2063A01 BMS. So cut this fiber tape here. With a little bit of persuasion, maybe I can lift that BMS pad. It's a fairly thick board. Sorry about my small work area here. It's not the greatest. This isn't my shop. So what I think I would do to eliminate that problem was get a Bluetooth BMS. Maybe split them in half so they're 72 volt, and maybe because they're 48 volt or 48 amp hour, just split it in half and make two 72 volt 20 amp hours, much lighter. And then you could have a swappable hot battery swap in your e-bike. I don't have my plastic pry sticks here. That's not going to pry off the front anyway. Three positive wires, so there's two hot wires. They look like they're 6 or 8 gauge. Probably two negative wires, 6 or 8 gauge. They look like they're 8 gauge. 8 or 6, I'm not sure. But since there's no Bluetooth on this BMS, and there's no data plug readily available, RS485 or data, probably have to take that heatsink off to see one. That's your, I wonder what that, because that one's going to the main. You got BMS wire, maybe there's a balancer, an active balance. I don't think it would be, maybe a passive balancer. Passive charging balance is okay, but I like active balance. Oh. And we have steel plate back here on the outside, no wires to it. That's probably yet the series connection for, say, the negative on this side to the positive on this side. It's all got a big old double crossover here. Fairly sturdy. Sounds like it's nickel plated aluminum. Put a whole bunch of tack welds down the sides here on both sides. Lithium battery is way more MAC tape. Yeah, so it just goes underneath there and pops that off. Just took a little break and a video break there to split the video in portions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test my negative wire on the negative battery post, and I'll test every 3.97, 7.94, 11.91, so everything should go up by 3-ish volts. 15 to 19, 19 to 23, 23 to 26, going up. Or what I can do is I can go to each cell 3.96, 3.97, and test each set of wires. .51, so we could be having an issue right here. Nope, 3.904, 3925. So a couple of these are overcharged. 3.6, 3.6, 3.7, 3.95. Then we jump over to the next one, 3.95, 3.98, 3.93, 3.87. So there is quite a wide variety, wide range. 3.6, 3.8, 3.9, 3.9, 394, 392. So over here at the positive end, 39, 39, 35, 39. So over here by the positive post, pack number 5 is reading low. So that's a very possible reason why the BMS is not charging. Because even though it's not very far out, it's still 3.5 volt. Everything else is at 3.9, and that's at 3.5. So nominal is 3.75. And what might be happening is we've got cells that are close to the negative post that are reading 3.9. So when it charges, these cells on this side, close to the negative post, are giving full charge, where these cells on the positive side are reading low. So unless we get an absolute a balanced charge into this thing so that they're all exactly the same voltage, one will reach maximum voltage before the rest, and the rest will not charge anymore. And sooner or later, what happens is you get one set of batteries that get lower and lower and lower because they never go up to the top. They get lower and lower and lower, and the BMS will shut off saying, I'm full on this side, but I'm not full on this side. So what will happen is you'll have this side that doesn't have enough amperage, the same as this side. So therefore, when this side goes low in amperage, it's still reading the same volts, but low in amperage. The amperage drops too quickly for the BMS, so the BMS can't read proper amperage coming out of your battery. So this is going to be a total teardown, especially this side here, the positive side, is because electric current flows from the negative side out to the motor, and whatever isn't being used goes back in the positive side. Just like your regenerative braking in anything, your e-bike or your electric vehicle or whatever, when you hit the brakes or let the accelerator off, it puts power back into the batteries through the positive post. But what's happening is these batteries on this side are not getting full charge. So these ones are full charging, but these ones are not. So somewhere in here, there's a low charge, so it's got to be reset. Bring each package, each set of cells that are in series, bring them each back up to full voltage and full charge. Fill them with current so that they read proper current for the BMS. So the BMS doesn't shut off, even though it's 60 volts, it's shut off. The current drop is too quick because of the one side battery is not fully charging. So this is going to be, well, at least a half a teardown, probably a full teardown, to and throw a an actual what is this, a 20S? A 20S BMS in here with Bluetooth, so you can monitor it. So you can monitor the cells when they start to go low. Then you can throw a balanced charge on it, which would be a trickle charge at like half an amp. Half an amp. So the battery would slowly charge. The top cell batteries that are top charge won't get any juice, but the low ones will get juice. So this is what I found so far in the teardown. That this side of the battery pack, which is basically a 36 volt battery on this side, series with these two metal plates on the back, to this 32 volt side over here, making it, or 36 volt, making it a 72 volt battery. So that'll be the next one. I don't know if I'll be having enough camera or batteries to video that for the rest of the teardown, but that's pretty much what it is. Take this BMS off, disconnect the wires, split this apart. I may show it, I may not, I don't know yet. And then, because a lot of these are soldered on, they're not spot welded on, all these connections and everything. So we'll have to make new connections and everything to put it back together. But yeah, the next step is to take the BMS off and split the two batteries in half and go from there. All right, we'll take a pause for right now and see what's happening. Yeah, I've already taken the blue casing off.
Yeah.
I'm working on the outside Magnetic tape and the plastic board. A little bit of a delicate procedure. Just very delicately cut the tape. There's the BMS on top.
Basic of heart. Basic mag-heart ba? Biology.
Lots of foam padding for a space filler.
Sa? Kita sa ding hirap mo. Muna akong hirap mo. Kita. Tingnan ba? Oh, kita kay kapareho sakit ka unit ko ba sa ako. Liguran na. Kaya tawag ka sa mga ano.
Looks like there's a bit of sticky tape, or two-sided tape, holding the side panels on. A little bit delicate, just move slowly. Get your fingers down in there. Because they're all just panels, just cut the MAC tape. And you have the side panels for the size of your battery. Looks like they are 18650s. Same thing on the other side. Just gently. There's two-sided sticky tape on it. Another one. You see some of the particle board came off, but that's all right. Yes, Mama. Love you, baby. So you can see here you've got all the padding that's in there, and there's wires coming up over the top all the way to the back of the BMS. Huge gobs of solder on them. There's your PMS wires, balancing wires, if it's an active balancer. Some coming from the front, some going to the back set. There's your charging positive, and then your charging negative is over here, and the other two wires all the way at the front here, you've got your battery negative, so these are your grounds going out. to both the charger and the power supply. And this one here, I believe underneath there is your positive wire, positive post, which will then is your power out. So I'm going to pull this pad off of here. That's your BMS wire protector. And that way I can get the balance leads out, the BMS leads out, and then that way the BMS will be disconnected so I can pull that wire panel off the front. Looks like it's got a rubber grommets inside there. So it'll take me a little bit to get that off. But I will allow you to keep watching. That's my little sports camera that I'm shooting this on. I don't have a battery in my GoPro at the moment. So I'll just spin this around. Take this card off the back. A lot of Mac tape on the back there. We'll keep these cards for reassembly. I'll leave the bottom one on for now until I work my way around to this one. For the BMS wires, there's a bunch of clearish glue or silicone on the top, which holds the plugs in from coming out. That'll take a little bit to get off. It is a little bit flexible, but not very much. So I'll work on getting this front card off. Now it looks like the holes were drilled, cut in here, and there's black polyurethane on the outside to seal it. That could be part of the problem, that there's no breathing. There's no breathing in this thing at all. So if they overheat and decide to shut down, there's no way to recover that. Now, being as these wires are all taped up and they're soldered on the XT60 connector here, I'm not going to take them off at this time. Looks like down here, these two negative posts for the BMS come right down here. Must be the negative end of the battery over here. Pull out some more of these paddings. It's quite the assembly situation there. Double stack the foam tape in most places. Just for spacing. So it is a double-sided 72-volt battery. So I don't know if it was just series or whether they made two 36-volt packs and series them together. Ooh, excuse me. Oh. Ugh. I'm not going to desolder here. So what I'll do is I'll try to crack this card in the middle. make it slotted so I can put it back on later. This is so I can get the rubber grommets off. A little bit of snap there. Polyethylene or polyurethane, whatever it is pretty sticky. So there's one out. Rotate the rubber grommet so it's off the wire, and then I can just snap that. Off like that. Yeah, it was just cut a hole in it and fed the wires through and then soldered the ends on. A little bit of garbage there. There's also another card on the end here. So the negative going to the BMS is here. Come over here and grab you. So the negative going to the BMS is here. And the positive for both the charger and the positive feed to the motor is here. This is your negative wire for the charge. This little guy right here. And then this negative is your feed to the motor. Don't know if you can see that very well. So what I'll do now is I'll grab my Klein tester, or X-Tech, which is the same as Klein. Put it on voltage, DC voltage, and I will go to this positive and this negative, 77.3. 77.3. So it's reading full voltage. Must be the BMS has a huge cooling pad on it. It does have a rubber bottom on it. The voltage is reading 77.3, so that means that it's not full charge, but close to full charge. I hope that's just solder, not cold solder. Bring them down there. So there you can see you got batteries running from here all the way to the back and then back around this way. So I'm gonna slowly work on this BMS